Hi, boys and girls. I'm going to do a lesson on maps. For our social studies, we're going to learn about maps and symbols. And the first thing we're going to learn about are maps. And I have a map here of the United States of America and has all 50 states. And you also have a map in all of your things, and I would like you to start coloring this. We've done this before, but we're going to do something a little different with maps this time. So here we see United States, and we see some letters on there. I've put those letters on there because every state has a name. Our state is Michigan, but every name has a shortcut, just like we have shortcut dates. So Michigan's shortcut is MI. We're just going to put a few in. New York's shortcut is NY. So do that. Find that one is kind of pointed up there. In fact, right up there in the top, that's where my daughter lives. Here's another one. This is that long one sticking out. That's Florida, FL. Here's the biggest state in land mass. That's Texas. You can put a TX there. Way out here on the West Coast is long state is California. That's CA. And up at the very top is Washington. That's WA. So I would like you to write those letters in. Use that marker I gave you, it will show it better, and then color over those with your colored pencils, any color you want. Now, another thing that I would like you to do with me is get a sheet of paper, and this can be any kind of paper. If it has lines on it, that doesn't matter, but you are going to follow me and make a map. Now, a map is a picture of some area, and they call it bird's eye view. So it would be from somebody up above looking down, because you're not actually seeing the things, you're just seeing a drawing of the things. And the map we're going to make is just a map of part of our classroom. So this would be the part that we're going to make. And it's only the part where we have our gathering circle. So this is our gathering circle map. So gathering is GATHERING, and circle. And your parents can help you spell that. In case it's hard to read, I'll bring the camera up a little bit closer. Now you have to think about what is in that gathering circle. Well, we know I sit right by a piano, and we're going to just make that to be a rectangle, because I'm not going to draw the whole piano, because a map doesn't actually show everything, just like this map. And this map does not show you everything in Michigan. But I am going to put a line across it and make straight lines going down. And every other line, I'm going to make it a little bit darker, because that just gives us the idea that it could be a piano. Now there's something that sits in front of the piano, and that's the bench that I sit on. And then there's one more thing that's right in front, and that is the carpet. And there's 8 things around it. And I'm going to make what isn't really a chair. It actually looks like the letter H, but it would be a chair there, a chair there. Now it's like putting numbers on a clock. You can't put them all real close together, because then over here where Beatrice sits and Silas sits, they wouldn't have a chair. So you want to make sure that you get chairs all around and that you have 8. And see how I'm kind of making them upside down? Now really the right way would be to turn your paper and make those chairs. Now let's see if I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, I don't have enough. So I think I'll put one more right over here. And if they're not exactly in the right place, that's okay. So now we have the piano bench, the carpet, and the chairs. And what we do last on a map is we make a legend or a key. The one on the USA map is right down here. I call it a key. So you're going to make, wherever you have a little bit of room, might be either corner, it might be up at the top, and that helps people read. So the first thing they're going to do is read that little h equals chair. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up close, and this one we have to make a little tiny, like a piano with some lines, and that equals piano. And then we make a circle, and that equals carpet. And your parents can help you spell those words. I'm going to hold it up close here because we've made a map and we've made the key. That little H means a chair, and the equals is sort of the shortcut to means. That little symbol means the piano, and that circle means a carpet. Because somebody who's just looking at this, they wouldn't know that that's a carpet. They might think, that's a very funny looking sun that you drew. So that's how you make your key for your map. So that's something you can work on, and you can color the states that you've put the letters inside of. Now I am going to finish up another chapter of A Nest for Celeste. It's chapter 10, Feet in the Gravy. Celeste was getting accustomed to spending time nestled in the bottom of Joseph's shirt pocket. He kept her well supplied with peanuts and other goodies. Sometimes she liked to curl into a ball and sleep, lulled by the scratching of Joseph's pencils and his humming of his tunes. But after several days, she found she was happiest when Joseph was working. She would poke her head out from his shirt pocket or perch on his shoulder and watch him sit for hours, staring at one of his jars of plants and then try to make the plant come alive on paper. "No, not right," he would mutter. "Awful! The veins in this leaf are all wrong. See how flat this looks? Terrible." Often Mr. Audubon would loom over Joseph as he worked. "Composition, Joseph. Remember to balance the picture on the page. Watch the watercolors, Joseph. Your greens are looking muddy. Why add this leaf? It does nothing to the picture." Although Celeste could see how frustrated Joseph was, it was fascinating for her to watch him sketch as he worked and reworked over and over. To Celeste, the drawings of the plants were beautiful, but Joseph never seemed satisfied. He would work late into the afternoon. The dinner bell sounded from downstairs. The table was set. Food was being brought out from the summer kitchen. Joseph sat at his usual place. "Good evening, Mr. Perry, Mrs. Perry," he said. Mr. Perry was carving a roast. "Evening, son. Got an appetite?" "Yes, sir." Audubon entered with a flourish. His long hair was tied back with a ribbon, and he wore his best white linen shirt. Good evening, all," he said. In Joseph's shirt pocket, Celeste's nose twitched. She was dreaming, but even in her dreams, did things smell this good? She blinked several times before. Look at that table setting. You see, there's some people over here. There's lots of things on the table. There's a little girl and a man. I think that's Mr. Perry, and that's his daughter. And they have candles, and they have water, and they have plates and forks and rolls. Wow, what a beautiful picture. Well, Celeste was realizing she was awake and the scent was real and close, and so she poked her head out from the pocket. This was a view of the dining room table she had never seen. Several white tapers, that's candles, lit a brilliant array of colorful plates and dishes. Bowls and platters were piled high with mountains of food, incredible amounts that Celeste had never imagined. Silverware and crystal goblets sparkled, and wafting over everything like a delicious fog was the yummy scent of, what was that, roast beef? Sweet potatoes? Hot rolls? Her eyes nearly bulged from their sockets. Yellow Jack fever is bad down country this summer, Mr. Perry said. I heard the folks over at Parlange were hit mighty hard. At Parlange and also other plantations, replied Audubon. And of course New Orleans is in a bad state, so I understand. Papa, will the Yellow Jack come up the river this far? Asked Eliza. Well, we're usually pretty safe here, Eliza, her father replied. President Monroe will send some militia to help quarantine the city. Across the table, Mrs. Perry was helping herself from a dish of vegetables. For pity's sake, let's not ruin dinner with this talk about Yellow Jack, she said, passing the dish to Eliza. She happened to glance over at Joseph and stopped in midair. Her eyes got bigger and one corner of her mouth dropped. Whoa! What? Oh no, a mouse! Celeste darted back down into the pocket, but the damage had been done. The dish of vegetables fell to the floor as Mrs. Perry leaped from the table and ran into the parlor, followed by wide-eyed Eliza. Mouse! Hollowed Mr. Perry. Where? There are no mice in this house. In a panic, Celeste leaped from Joseph's pocket. Mr. Perry turned to see her racing to the edge of the table, and picking up a heavy serving ladle, he began swatting at Celeste, pounding the tablecloth, shattering the gravy boat. Celeste was fast and miraculously maneuvered through an obstacle course of plates and silverware and repeated swats of the ladle, leaving behind tiny footprints of sweet potato and gravy. She leapt off the tablecloth to a chair, then to the floor, and right into the path of the cat. Only inches away, the cat was too close to escape. Celeste closed her eyes tightly, preparing for the end. She had 1 second to think. I only hope this is quick. I hope cats don't like to play with their food before they eat it. But suddenly she was enveloped in warmth and darkness. Oh, this isn't so bad. The cat is merciful after all. And then she heard a voice whispering, It's all right. Just stay still, but stay in my pocket. A second later, she was deposited back into the familiar comfort of Joseph's shirt pocket. And there she is running across the table. In an instant, Celeste felt a measure of security and safety tucked next to the familiar beating of Joseph's heart. Audubon gave Joseph a look. Joseph understood immediately and hurriedly excused himself from the table, taking the stairs 2 at a time, and raced to his room. Don't ever show your face again, little one, he admonished, at least not at the table. He put Celeste back into her cage. Her pulse was pounding. The world was an unpredictable place. Her little nook beneath the dining room floorboards had been dark and musty, but it had been safe. She had never felt so strongly the need for shelter, for refuge, and for a home. And there's the mess on the dining room table. And that is the end of that chapter, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.